we believe we should adopt what we call the ESign Program. Some very creative people in Denver came up with this, and they're using it very successfully right now. Washington, D.C. is about to adopt it too. So specifically what happens is good candidates have a hard time getting good signatures. Okay? In Illinois, often even a good candidate that's not cheating may find out only about 45 to 50% of their signatures are good. And that is because people move a lot, and when they go to them, they may say, yeah, I'm registered, but not at that address. And so the petitions get thrown out. So the ESign program, basically, we would provide the software. And it'd be a volunteer program, but what you could do is you could use your own tablet then, and you have all the information. So when you go to talk to Jack Smith, and Jack says, oh yeah, I'm registered. Before you sign, well, this says you're registered over here. Oh yeah, I did move. They can correct it right there. If they're not registered, they can register right there. And what that did in Denver, okay, is they moved it up to candidates who were getting 97% accurate signatures. So this would make it easier to get good signatures and help everybody. Requirements right now for petitioning are too high, okay? Remember, the two parties have the most to do about writing the legislation, okay, for how people, how we vote and all the various rules. And sometimes, frankly, there are those, not everybody, who want to make it hard on particularly non-incumbents. Since you only need 5,000 signatures to run for governor, we don't believe anybody, particularly at the county level, should have to have more than that. Secondly, because of this, we could have dramatic efficiencies to speed up the process, which is important, and save money and make it fairer by then capping it and say, okay, let's say it was 5,000 signatures. You could turn in more, but only at a 1-to-3 ratio. We believe this second point would make a lot more sense, speed up the time, make it fair, and save money. Now, we want to add 2 weeks to that calendar, okay? But I'd rather do it at the same time we change the primary. Our primary shouldn't be in March. Then you go all the way from March to September. I think that leads to all sorts of difficulties and wasted money. It should be in May or June or July, okay? And if we did that, then making the calendar longer would not make it so difficult. Because what we're trying to do is to get these challenges, get the petition done sooner, with ideally fewer petitions and more accurate petitions because of ESign. That speeds up the process. And then by adding the 2 weeks, in case the courts take longer we'd like or the electoral boards take longer we'd like, remember, we're always balancing here. We're balancing the right of you to be a candidate and the right to make sure there's a fair judicial process. So by doing all these things, particularly by changing the calendar, it's likely that decisions we made about candidates would be decided sooner. Certainly, our office has taken lots of steps to make the ballot access situation both more fair and easier, okay? So for example, we have this new running for office starter kit, okay? We try and let candidates for local office and countywide offices have a way they can go online and see all the requirements. Now, that's just background. We've also done a lot of things over the years. Remember, with all these great civic groups and good legislators, we passed automatic registration and joining ERIC. ERIC is a number of states that share data. That is really helping us because now we're finding out when people move to other states, we can take them off their rolls. And what automatic registration has done, it's only partly done, but it's put hundreds of thousands of people into the correct place where they're voting from. So that helps the candidates too. All those things speed up the process, make it more efficient, and as we take more paper out of the system, we spend less money. Early voting, these words sometimes get confusing. So early voting, understood by almost everybody, takes place roughly 2 or 3 weeks before the election. And that's where you can go to every site, okay? And then a few years later, we shortened it, we moved it. We shortened it a little bit because we realized far more people were voting toward the very end. Okay, now you can vote all the way up to Monday before the election, okay? And it was working very well, very effective. And the problem is things are different around the state. For real small counties, they don't have early voting sites like we do. They have one or two, okay? And that may be a long way for people to drive. And their ballots might be ready sooner because they don't have as many candidates. They don't have all the judges, for example, that we do. They don't have all the challenges, okay? And maybe their courts move quickly because they have 3 items in court rather than 212. So historically, the bigger jurisdictions, Republican and Democrat, couldn't be ready on the 40th day anyway. I think everybody understands. Let's clarify it. Let's go back so everybody understands. Early voting, which means you can go to all these sites 15 days, that's early voting. If you want to call it something different, where in certain places that the ballot is ready, you can go to the county seat. Because see, that's what this 40 days out. You can't go to these sites, they're not even open. You can come, but if you live in Barrington, coming to downtown Chicago is not particularly attractive. Well, I hope that clarifies it. It would be nice. Most people don't care, they understand it, but when articles in the paper legitimately raise the confusion, we should fix it.